Sword in the Stone. This is the story of a sword, a stone, a legendary king, and a warlock. But hold on a second. Let me take you back to the time when none of this was in question. Back when there was just a father who wanted to protect his child from the evils of war and violence. And this father was King Uther Pendragon. And in desperate times, he had but just one aide he could trust. His friend, the warlock.
Merlin,
Your Majesty, you called for me?
you are the only one I trust, Merlin. My son, Arthur, is not safe in this palace. There are people who wish to harm the true heir to the throne. Take Arthur away and keep him safe.
Merlin understood the fear of the king and took him far away from the palace. He kept the boy on the doors of a humble home, a home to a knight. And this was the beginning of the legend of the future King Arthur Pendragon. Over time, King Uther fell severely ill.
Merlin, the throne shall be vacant till the true heir is brought back. Promise me that you will look after my child, and when the time comes, England will be introduced to its true heir.
Merlin thought for weeks about what Uther had said.
When Arthur Pendragon reveals himself, the people have to believe that he is the true heir. With his father gone, how will he be recognized? Arthur truly has a great destiny to fulfill, but he would need everybody to trust him.
After a lot of thinking, finally, Merlin had the answer. He forged a sword out of the strongest metal, went deep into the forest, and enchanted the sword with his spell.
The one who will pull this sword out of the stone will be the true heir to the throne. He shall be the future King of England, King Arthur Pendragon.
And that is how the sword and the stone came to be. The news of the sword and the stone spread across the kingdom like wildfire. Many strong and muscled ones came forward and tried their luck. Years passed and everything changed, but the sword and the stone lay there waiting for its true wielder. Meanwhile, a young boy by the name Tim was being raised by a knight's family.
Tim, don't go ahead. It looks dangerous.
Danger is my second name. Ah!
Tim!
I am strong, and I have a stick. Show yourself. Oh.
Ha 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 ha! I am strong. I have a stick. Ha 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 ha! Were you going to hunt down a snake with a stick?
Merlin, gosh, you scared me.
I am preparing you for your future. You have a great
destiny to fulfill. I know. You keep saying that, but all I do all day long is polish my brother's armor, clean the stable, and cook. It doesn't look like a great destiny to me.
All in good time, son. For now, let us get you back to your friend. I am pretty sure they must have fainted already.
Merlin was very cautious of not letting anybody know who Tim really was, and Tim in turn never spoke to anyone about his cherished warlock companion. Over the years, Tim and Merlin developed a unique friendship. They would often meet in the forest, and Merlin would teach Tim the rules of royal behavior. Tim never understood why it was important for him to learn all this, but Merlin always had his way.
Tell me, if you were a ruler of a kingdom and your kingdom was about to be attacked, what would you do?
I will fight.
That is called bravado, son, and it is useful in certain circumstances. But as a ruler of the kingdom, battle must be the last option. You must always try everything to avoid a battle. A war is the worst thing to happen to any kingdom. Do you understand?
Tim's brother was Sir Ector. He was the knight of the royal palace, and Tim was always in awe of his brother's prowess. It was the day when Sir Ector was to participate in a tournament. A day before, he asked Tim to take the responsibility of his sword. Realizing that the sword was a little blunt, Tim gave it to the blacksmith to sharpen it, and on the day of the tournament, He went to the blacksmith to pick it up. All was going well until…
What?
You lost your brother's sword. How will he participate in the tournament now?
I didn't lose it. I gave it to the blacksmith for sharpening, but I didn't realize that the blacksmith would want to see the tournament too. How will I ever find him in all that crowd and get the key to his workshop?
Tim and his friend decided that they would take different paths and try to find a sword, any sword, for Sir Ector. After searching for quite some time, Tim reached an old rock hidden behind the hut.
Finally, I am sure no one would need this.
Tim jumped onto the stone, held the sword with both his hands, and pulled. And there it was, like a knife being pulled out of soft butter. The sword in the stone was out in a second.
Aha!
Tim rushed back to his brother, not knowing that his destiny was about to be revealed. Back at the tournament, Sir Ector was waiting desperately for the sword.
Where is Tim? Here, take this sword. It's not yours, but it will work, I promise. Ah!
And the moment Sir Ector entered the ground,
Wait, this sword. Where did you take this sword from?
Take it? What do you mean? I am the knight of the palace. I don't take anything from anyone. My brother Tim gave this sword to me.
Stop the tournament! The sword in the stone has been pulled out!
Where is your brother?
noblemen, knights, palace advisors, people of England, all gathered around the stone. They couldn't believe that the lanky boy in front of them was the true heir to the throne. Not possible. The sword was impossible for the strongest of lots to pull out. Was pulled out by him? No. We must put the sword back and see this for ourselves.
But now, if we put the sword back, then he will easily pull it out.
No, the incantations of the sword are clear. Only the true heir of the throne will be able to pull the sword out of the stone. We must put the sword back.
The sword was put back and locked in its place again. Then one by one, the knights and the strong-looking people tried to pull the sword back out, including Ector.
This is impossible. Maybe now it's stuck for real.
As everybody was trying their best, something inside Tim shifted. He stared at the sword and was almost attracted to it. It was like the sword was calling to him. He walked through all the chaos, completely focused on the sword. He jumped onto the rock, even as everyone watched him with awe. And there it was, the real magic. The wind gushed, clouds dashed against each other, and the bright light appeared right on the rock where Tim stood. England held its breath as Tim effortlessly pulled the sword out of the stone. Arthur Pendragon has returned.
Son of Luther Pendragon?
Son of Luther.
After all these years,
England will now have a king?
Your Majesty.
Hail the king!
Hail the king! Hail the king! Hail the king! Hail the king!
I see you are the king now.
Merlin!
My dear, dear Arthur.
I am not Arthur. I am Tim.
No, son. This is your destiny. You were born to Uther Pendragon, but he asked me to keep you safe till you were grown enough.
But I don't know how to be a king.
But you already are a king. We can be anything we want and wish to be. All we need is a little focus and lots of practice. And your practice starts now. I will always be there to help you. And you have to learn to be a great king for them.
Merlin was right. The sword in the stone had revealed that Tim indeed was Arthur Pendragon. But it was now up to him to live his destiny of the one true king. Arthur lived his years being the one true king. For the sword in the stone was only the first legendary story on his realm. Soon he was going to have his Knights of the Round Table, and of course, the queen of his heart, Guinevere. But all those for next time.